Okay, we're back. Time to get this thing put back together. Now that I have the basket cleaned, the the top mount plate installed correctly, glued down and everything, it's time to get this thing going back together. So, got the inside of the gap here cleaned the best I could. Make a little paper football out of tape, run it in there, compressed air, whatever you gotta do, just get all the gunk and old junk out. So this is ready to go back together. I've got some high temp thread sealant. Now you don't have to use the high temp thread sealant. It's probably ideal that you should, but you can use red or blue thread locker. I think factory these come with blue thread locker, I wanna say. But we're gonna get this basket back on, and then we can start getting the coil lined up, as well as the spider glued in and ready to go. So here we go. Here's a little trick that I picked up recently. The inside of the spider here, it's a pretty thin piece of fabric in there. You don't have a ton of area for the adhesive to stick. Now, obviously you do have the coil collar that goes there, well there, and then that gets glued in. Forgive me, it does go that way. Okay, it gets glued in. So you have a little bit more surface to glue for the adhesive to go to, but this little trick I picked up, take the back of your knife and go on the inside here and rough up the fabric. And that gives the glue more fabric to stick to. You might get some, strings that come off, no big deal. You just cut them off with your knife. There you go. And that just roughs it up a little bit. This will also be handy because I put my coil in this way. See, makes life a lot easier. Not having to squeeze it in around the coil. Because it should go in like this, no problem, with a pretty tight fit. But this way is supposed to be damn near, impossible. So this makes life a little easier. So I also want to mention, I have the coil gap set. And if you remember from a previous video, that is the total coil height cut in half, divided by 2, minus the top mount plate thickness, divide that by 2. Add those two together, and then that far down from the top, draw your line, and that's how much, that's where the top of this line on the coil should line up with the top of the top mount plate, so you can check it between the vents in here when you get it all set and you're ready to start gluing. So I'm gonna make me some shims for the inside of this coil real quick, and we'll get the spider glued to the coil and go from there.
I'm falling and I can't turn back.
Good. So I just used enough shims, obviously, to center the coil over the pole piece, but also give it a little bit of friction fit so that when I am gluing, it doesn't move around. I'm going to slide the spider over top. I don't want to glue the spider in yet because I still have to do the coil collar. Glue everything to that. I do want to just do a rough measurement. Center it up best I can. And maybe even make a line where I want the spider to sit. Around the coil, around the former. Let's see here. So down just a bit. Check a few spots. Now we're gonna come in here with the marker. Just mark out a few spots where the spider is gonna line up. on the coil, and I'm using a silver Sharpie so I can actually see the lines when I'm done. If you don't have silver Sharpies, man, buy some silver Sharpies. Now, of course, as usual, I will shim as usual for the W6s and W7 JLs, I will shim from the outside with some thin film that I have, and do it around the vent holes here. That keeps it shimmed from the outside because you can't shim the W6s and 7s from the inside. So now I need to solder this on there, glue it, and it's ready. So I'll do a little cleaning up on this. I got most of the gunk and stuff off. I just want to clean it with some rubbing alcohol and then it should be good. Now I've done a video on these coil collars before for the W6s, and it's the same process for the W7. W7 just has less wires you have to worry about. So I'm not gonna bore you with the details on this, but if you're interested, check out that video. See if I can link it up in the corner or something. Lined up. It's lined up roughly. Okay. Get those in there roughly. I'm gonna put a little crimp, a little bend in the lead, just a little bit. Something for the coil collar wire to attach to sit on. There we go. I'll trim off the excess later. Put a little solder paste on there. There should be enough solder left on the old leads, on the coil collar currently, as those leads are, that it should solder right onto those new leads. They are a little stiff right now from all that solder though. They'll loosen up. Now, I will throw a glob of solder in there just for good measure.
To fulfill other people's expectations. I think they generally produce their work.
Good. Now the other one. All right, nice and soldered. Just got to trim off the excess here. Now the spider has somewhere to land. No problem. So let's do one more test fit. Well, this isn't important yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put this kind of oriented how I want it. lined up with its original spot here. That'll do. Take my shims, put them back in. Double check my alignment, but I need a flashlight. So that does need to go down just a little bit. Okay, see if I can push this thing down just a little more. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Up a bit here. Down a bit there. There are my lines. Down just a little more. Okay, it's all looking good. Yep, nice and flush, lined up, good to go. All right, take a little bit of CA glue once I find it. I'm gonna do a couple small tacks around the edge. So now the coil is in place, it's not gonna go anywhere. The coil collar, excuse me, the coil collar is in place, it's not gonna go anywhere once that glue dries here in a second. But then we're gonna glue the spider in place, but I'm gonna use a rubberized CA that I have that's a little bit better. So fills more voids and stuff, and a little stronger bond. So I'm gonna use that here in a minute once this dries. And then I can glue the spider down. Not yet, but I can glue the spider down once I get my shims for the outside of the coil. And we can get the cone on top, then the surround glued on, and then the dust cap on. It's all just gluing now. A lot of adhesives. Oh, I'll keep rocking. Now the spider. Yeah. Yeah, just like that. Smush it on in. Yeah, see, it's already seeping out a little bit. That's exactly what I'm after. Now a little bit more here on top. Now this is some really good glue. You always want to make sure you cap it. Cap it before you spray any accelerator. All right. Looking good. Looking good. Cool. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna let that set. Let all that CA glue take. But man, that's looking pretty solid. Nice bead all the way around. Spiders nice and smushed in there, nice and glued. So that's good there. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. So we're gonna let that sit for a while. Come back later, finish her up. Get the spider glued to the basket.